Welcome to the new series on Next.js 15. I'm starting a new e-commerce project with Next.js 15 frontend and Headless WooCommerce as the backend. Normally, I finish the whole project and then make a video. But this time, I've decided that I'll create a video series as I build the project step by step. This is the first part of the series where I have done only the UI UX setup so far with Tailwind components, Shadcn library, and Zustand for state management. In this video, we'll go over the following: the application front-end walkthrough, Zustand store architecture diagram, and the code walkthrough will include the Zustand store and the navbar, the shop and the single product page, the cart page, and the sidebar cart slide, and the last but not least, the checkout page and the thank you page. Now let's get started with the application front end. All right, so this is pretty much the base starting page, very simple. And this is the shop. But before I go to the shop, I just wanted to show you a few more things. Like this should be an admin portal. These are all, responsive and everything. Customer, admin, etc. They're going to be locked by authentication. And here I keep a demo page where I can, collect sample codes from, for grids and buttons, etc. And this is my base page template. This is the one I base my normal pages on. And then now let's go to the shop and let's change a few things, and that's what it's gonna look like. Plus this is active. And that being said, let's make it larger. Okay, now let's go and see that you may notice that I don't have the pagination just yet added, because that pagination logic will depend on my source. In this case, it will be WordPress REST API or WooCommerce REST API, etc. So if I do it now, which is currently all these products are based on a static JSON file, so I'm going to have to rewrite all the logic again. I don't want to do that. And that being said, let's look at the empty cart. This is what it looks like. And go back to the shop, and now let's go to a single product. And right here, let's add something, and this is a sidebar cart with access to the checkout page and the cart page. And in case you want to continue shopping, you hit that, you come back to the shop. Also from here, you can just keep adding stuff to it. There you go, it keeps adding, and then even from here, you can add more quantity, and this will keep changing. Let's say add 10. See, this number keeps changing. You can also be able to remove stuff, and let's add a few more. This one, let's say this one. All right. And from here, let's go to the cart page. All right, so this is our cart page. All the items are here. It's bringing in one extra module here, which is right now with static data, but this should be the related products or something like that. Eventually, this will become a heck of a lot more complicated with upsells and etc. Now I'm keeping it simple because I'm trying to establish a proof of concept or POC, right? So right here, so look at this number again, and I'm going to be removing stuff, and number changes, and then also add stuff to it. Number also changes once again, boom, and then remove again, and subtotal and order total keeps changing. And from here, we can just go to checkout. There you go. Even from here, as you can see, all those states are kept. Zustand making it possible. This side, the form, I mean, they're just in there, not active just yet. But I just worked on this order summary here on this page. Even from here, I can just remove stuff, and it goes and changes everything. And after all that's said and done, I can hit confirm order, and I can end up in a thank you page. This is actually supposed to happen after a transaction goes through, right? So, but right now, once again, I'm simply working on the UI UX part and making sure that they are all keeping up with everything. You know, products are actually showing up. These are dynamically showing up. And this was the final amount that also carried over to our thank you page, right? So with that, this is pretty much the base walkthrough of this beginning UI UX of the e-commerce project. Eventually, I'm going to be adding a headless WooCommerce backend to it. And also look at this, as I keep adding stuff to it, that number also keeps changing. So this is also happening due to Zustand. Now that I've gone over the basic structure of the app, now let's go find out what's making it possible. Let's go to the Zustand stores diagram. All right, so this is the full diagram of our Zustand store and how it is impacting the entire UI UX of our e-commerce application. All right, so let's start here. First, to notice that we have two specific stores in there. One is used product store and the used cart store. And the product store is very simple. It is bringing in the static data, the product data from a JSON product list file, and updating its state with all the products. And this is the one sending the list of products to our shop page and a single product page. And the shop page, we're showing the entire list, and in the single product page, we are showing them by ID, all the single product detail. All right, so now let's look at our used cart store, and that has all the necessary functions and variables that we're going to need for the rest of the functionality. Let's start here, and here what we see is from cart store, we're getting cart items, set is cart open function, remove from cart function, increase cart quantity function. And only thing this is an array of products, cart items, and here we can see the data structure. A single cart item looks like this: an ID, which is a number, quantity, which is also a number. A very simple object. But in here, we are actually seeing, as we send from Zustand, is the cart items, which is an array of cart items. A very simple object, because in the shop and in the single product, we don't need any more details, right? And you will see why. Let's go to the shop. All right, so right here, one thing to remember, that we are only concerned with what happens with these buttons in the shop page and in the single page. These are the only thing is our focus, not what the cart is doing at the moment, right? We will handle it later. And just for these two pages, we're dealing with this cart items, set is cart open function, remove from cart, and increase cart quantity. So let's stick with the simple ones. So let's say what this is doing, set is cart open. So every time we add something or we move something, our sidebar cart is opening and closing, right? Not even the closing we're concerned about. We're only concerned about opening, and that's what set is cart open function is handling. It is just setting it to true, and thus every time we add something, our sidebar cart is opening. But the closing is handled on the sidebar cart side. I mean, that's not even being handled by the shop or this guy right here, the single page. See, we add this, it opens, and that's it. Being handled by set is cart open function. And also, now that we added it, so let's remove. That item is gone, is being handled by remove from cart function. And also, let's go to the shop, and when we add another one being added, by increase cart quantity function. So these are all done. Now let's see why we need cart items for. And this is why. Because every time this increase cart quantity function is invoked is when we hit add cart item. What it does is, since we know our cart item object is a very simple one with ID and quantity, is what happening is this function is each time we add something is adding the ID of the product and 1 as the quantity. And as you can see, this guy also changing the number, because let's go back to the diagram for a second, because if we notice, the nav bar is getting the get item quantity and is loading. And is loading we will talk about later, but right now let's see what this guy is doing. This guy is basically checking on this object right here, which is an array of cart items, and it is just calculating these numbers. However many number is in, it's gonna go ahead and show in the nav bar right here, just like that. And every time we're removing it, it's removing from that cart items and at the same time showing up right here. And same thing is being done when we go to the single page, remove, it's removed, and the color and text is being changed. And how that is changed is because of this function right here. Inside both of these pages, the single page and the shop page, we have a function called isProductInCart. And every time there is a status change, what this function is doing is checking up on this array, cart items array, and making sure that specific product, this specific product ID is present or not. If it is present, then it is sending a boolean true, and based on that we are changing this button to red and changing the text. And as soon as it is removed, now what we're doing is the same function is sending a false boolean, thus we are changing it back to add to cart and changing the color of the button to blue. Same thing in here. Now let's go back. All right, now let's look at what's happening here. The same used cart store is supplying all these to 3 of our items on the WooCommerce page. One is the sidebar cart component, the cart page, and the checkout page. All 3 of them receiving cart details, is loading, set cart items, remove from cart, set is cart open, and subtotal. And one thing to notice here is that the cart detail is a little bit bigger object than the cart item. It has not only the ID and the quantity, but it also has the product details, which actually helps all our sidebar cart, cart page, and checkout to show the details of the product that's being added. Now let's go back to the shop. All right, so as we have seen before, these are the states that are being passed from the Zustand store to our carts and the checkout page. So let's start here. Let's look at what this guy is doing. And notice that this sidebar cart has access to both the checkout page and the cart page, right? We'll get to that later. But right now, let's see what this is doing. First off, this is actually showing the product that got added with image, with title, with price, etc. All this data is coming from this cart details object array. And notice this total price here. If I change the quantity, it immediately changes the subtotal. So subtotal is in action right here, and this change is being taken care of by set cart items function. And also if we remove it, removing by using remove from cart function. And as it happens, we're also checking this cart detail array object to make sure whether or not we have items in there. If not, based on that, we're changing the status of these buttons, because if we don't have anything in the carts, we no longer need to access checkout page or the cart page. So now let's check out the cart page. Let's add something here. By the way, we can also check the cart page by clicking here, and immediately we see cart is empty, and we hit go back to shop, and we come back to the shop. So now let's add a few from here, even from, let's say, a single page. And now let's go to cart page. All right, as you can see, the cart page has all the details, the product, and the order summary. And also this brings in some related products. Right now, these are not hooked up. This is just a placeholder, but this is what our shopping cart page looks like right now. And here we can also change the quantity and see the price change, and that's being taken care of by the subtotal in here and this set cart items. And at the same time, we can also remove products from here. That's where the remove from cart function kicks in. And you might be wondering that set is cart open, why that's important, right? For that, let's go back to our shop, and let's add something again. And this time we're going to go to the checkout page, because this set is cart open will function for both the pages. Since we have already seen this cart page, let's go to the checkout page and watch what happens. See, we came in here, and gracefully our sidebar cart component just nicely got removed. And that's where this thing comes in. Set is cart open. It is being set to Boolean false, and thus that sidebar cart just got removed as soon as we reach our checkout page. And in here, we actually see the exact same items that we added. We can also do the same. We can add more to it, and thus our subtotal changes. This one takes impact. And also we can do remove, and that's where remove from cart comes in action, and also is loading, right? So watch what happens when we refresh. You'll see that two spinners just were in action, right? Once again, there are two spinners. One is for the nav bar, because we are pulling stuff from Zustand store, and the other one is for this data for Zustand to refresh its status. And this is loading is connected to exactly that. Now watch what happens when we remove all the products. Boom, there you go. We're sent back to our shop, because we're also checking for the cart details, whether or not it's empty. As we saw right here, as soon as we remove this, the same status turns these buttons disabled. That same thing happened when, let's say, if we go to our checkout page also, and we remove our last item, we come back to the shop, just because we are always checking this cart details for its quantity of items. If it is 0, we always send back the user to the shop. So now let's go back to the diagram once again. At this point, we know how this use cart store is impacting our shop page, single page, sidebar cart component, cart page, checkout page, and navbar component, right? So only thing is left is our thank you page. So let's check that out. But before that, let's see what items coming in. Cart details is loading, get item quantity and subtotal. Let's go to the shop. All right, so let's review our Zustand items. The cart details is loading, get item quantity, subtotal. So now let's go add some stuff here. and go straight to checkout. And this time, let's confirm order. Oh, we reach our thank you page. This page we will come in the real project after our transaction goes through. So for now, we're just testing things just from the perspective of UI UX, right? So as we have seen before, the cart details, which supplied all the product details to our cart pages and checkout page, same way it is now sending the details here. That's why we can have our product image, title, etc. showing. And this tiny little thing, the quantity, we're getting it from this function, get item quantity. And this is the same function that's giving our nav bar the quantity. In the real application, by the time we get here, this will turn into 0 because we have cleared our cart out. Once again, this is just for the UI UX so that we get to test everything. And as you can see, there's a tiny bug left that I have to fix. Good thing that this showed up, so I'm going to have to fix that. But once again, this is happening because of this subtotal that Zustand is sending us. And once again, let's check out the is loading. Let's refresh. And you quickly saw 2 spinners. Once again, 2 spinners, one for the nav bar and one for the rest of it. That is loading is connected to our Zustand store. And with this, we finalize this diagram explanation. And at this point, we are ready to hit the code. All right, so we are at the code. Now, this is how I organize my code. And these are bracketed blocks: admin, customer, public, and vendor. And all these are going to be restricted content except for the public one, and that's where my open pages are. That being said, as promised, let's look at the Zustand store, and this is the product store. As mentioned before, it's very simple. Only thing it's doing is bringing in the data from the source file and adding it to its state and passing it along, right? And this is the cart store. But before going to the cart store, I want to show you the types. See, this is our product type. It has all these data elements and product store interface. This is being used in my product store, and this is the cart types. As mentioned before in the diagram, this is the cart item having nothing but ID and quantity, and then this is the cart detail, where besides the ID and quantity, we're bringing in the product detail, right? All right, that said, now let's go to the main Zustand file, our cart store. Right here, I'm bringing in 2 middleware from Zustand sides, the create function from Zustand. I'm bringing in persist and create JSON storage. And especially this persist is mainly so that I can persist my data as I refresh the page. Let's go to the store for a second. So as you can see, this is red already, right? So if I add something, it actually has product in the cart, and all these states has been changed. So now all of a sudden, if I refresh the page, they all stay as is. Even the all the products in the cart, they all stay. This is because of this guy right here, this persist and create JSON storage. Anyway, so I'm bringing in the product data from the data source. In case you want to look at it, the data source is right here, and this is what it looks like. Nothing but product data. So now let's go back. Also, I'm bringing in the cart detail and cart item types from my types, as this is TypeScript. And here I'm creating an interface for my specific cart store, with all the elements that we mentioned before in the diagram. The items is open, is loading, set is loading, blah, 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 all the way down to the subtotal. Now let's see. This is where I'm creating the store, and this is the data type. Now everything I'm wrapping around with the persist function so that I can persist the data, and inside that with the get and set method, sending in here all the variables. The cart item is cart open is a boolean, false is loading, we're keeping it true here by default. Set is loading, and this is the set function, and is cart set cart open exactly same. Set cart item on the other hand, it's as the new items come in, this variable brings it in, and as you can remember, it's the one we use to change the cart quantities, right, from those drop down menus. Now get item quantity, this is what we're using in the nav bar to grab the item numbers in the cart. This is where we increase the number of items one by one. As we click on the add to cart, this is the one in action, but it checks whether the the item is already in. If it is in, then it goes ahead and just adds a quantity. All right, so and decrease cart quantity, now it is exact opposite of the increase one. We are not really using it. This could be used in case you have, like, instead of drop down, if you have plus or minus to add one or subtract the other, decreased would be handy at that point, but we're not using it so far. And then this is the famous remove from cart. This is the one used everywhere to remove the item from the cart. Clear cart, this I should be using, but so far I haven't, because I think this is necessary. And then cart detail, and this is the one which carries all the product data to all our cart pages, checkout pages, even all the way to our thank you page. And this is the infamous subtotal. This is the one responsible for all the subtotal and the order total, all the items being accounted for. Now this is the most interesting part of the Zustand store, that here we're naming cart storage. This is the variable that Zustand use to persist the data in local storage. And partialize is because all the data doesn't really need to be persisted. Only thing we need is the cart items, and we know what cart items are. Is basically very lightweight object with nothing but the item ID and the item count, right? It's a list of that, so it's an array. So if we just store this one and everything else, we can just recalculate. And remember that loading state, this is what the loading state depends on. This is where we rehydrate the storage, update the application state, and in short, that's all there is to it for our Zustand state management tool. Now, as promised, let's go to find the nav bar, and nav bar is under component and global, and right here. Now here you will see a lot of extra HTML to build up all the templates, all the UI UX, right? But don't worry about all that code, because you can easily find it in this page. This Tailwind official components. You can just go here, and let's say you pick hero section and something you like from here. You can actually go to code and check out all the code. Plus, they just have a copy button. You copy it, and that's it. You bring it in and customize it at will. So don't worry about all that code. So I'm just gonna go ahead and focus on what we are doing with Zustand. All right, so let's get back. All right, so we are back at the nav bar, and this is where all my page links are. And this is the drop down menu. But what we are actually looking for here is this guy right here, our shopping bag. Right here, cart item count. This is the number is being generated using this function right here. We are bringing in use cart store, and from there we are bringing in cart details and is loading, and right here we are creating the cart item count by invoking that function cart details dot length. This actually gives me the quantity of the items in the cart detail, and this is the number we are showing near the shopping bag. And remember this is loading one, we are doing it right here, just loading a spinner and giving it the time it needs to load up the Zustand state to rehydrate, right? Otherwise we're going to have hydration issues. All right, so that being done, so let's go to the shop page. All right, so let's go find the shop page. Should be under public and under shop, and right here we're handling both. This is how I create the page. Since I have no control over this, I cannot rename it, so I keep the page simple, but actual code I bring in as a component. Shop page content, this is where all the content is. As you can see, we're bringing in the use cart store and also the products from the use product store as mentioned in the diagram, and these are the functions that are necessary, and using those I'm creating is product in cart. This is the one that checks whether the product is in cart or not. Handle add to cart, this is the one uses that increase cart quantity and opens the sidebar cart by changing the state of set is cart open to true. And handle remove cart, we send the product ID and it uses remove from cart and argument ID, remove the product, and this also opens up the side cart, right? And overall this is what the code looks like, the image, alt, etc., product name, color, etc. Here's our add to cart button. Depending on that is product in cart, it actually changes whether the text should be add to cart or remove item, and also changes the color to red, otherwise indigo, right? And that's about it. Let's go under ID, which is basically the single page. This is the page bringing in the single product content, and this is our single product, and this is the one when I used context API, but this is no longer necessary, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Okay, and once again we're bringing in use cart store, and by using the use param we are bringing in the ID or product ID, and using that product ID from this product source we are going to go ahead and find single product information, and from the use cart store we're bringing in all the necessary ones mentioned in the diagram. And similar fashion we are creating in product is product in cart, handle add to cart, handle remove cart item, and this is the overall structure. This is basically all template code you can find in the Tailwind component library. This is where we're using the functions that we just saw, right? So now let's move to the cart pages. All right, so let's go to the cart page. Just similar fashion, we just have this regular page bringing in the cart page content, which is this guy, and right here this is the static data for related products at the bottom. But otherwise we are bringing in the use cart store from Zustand, and these are all the necessary functions that we saw in the diagram, bringing in from use cart store. And I'm using a small use effect so that I can close down that side cart using set is cart open to false. As soon as this page loads up, the side cart disappears and is loading with a spinner. And then we have the necessary functions: handle quantity change, item ID, new quantity, and then set cart item to update that in Zustand store, and then handle remove cart. As usual, we're using remove from cart with an ID, and here's that logic that if the cart detail length is 0, then it will push us back to the shop, right? We saw that. And this is a go back to shop. I haven't used it yet, but it will be used. And here is the overall look and feel of the rest of the structure code. Most of the stuff you can find in the Tailwind component pages. And here's the subtotal. Currently, I'm just hard coding the tax and the shipping stuff. And this is that to fixed function that I missed in the thank you page. So this is the checkout button, and here's the cart detail. And this is nothing but static code to show the related products. And now that I've seen this, let's go to the checkout page. Exact same structure. Now the checkout page code is right there. And a lot of stuff here are coming from the template, so don't pay no attention to those. Just to notice that what we have done, this is our main thing, used cart store from Zustand store, right? So this is the one, and these are all the necessary functions and variables bringing in, just like before. And since our cart detail is a function, so we're running it and get the data here as an array so that we can loop over it. And here's our tax and shipping and all that, and subtotal variable. We're just making it everything in a variable so that we can simplify things for our HTML output. All right, so here, the exact same way they handle quantity change. Here we are giving the product ID number and the quantity, and using update cart items, looping over cart details and adding new stuff to it, and then set cart items, sending the updated cart items, updating the and that update the Zustand store, and then handle remove cart item. And same logic, if the cart detail length is 0, that means no product in the cart, we just push that to the shop. And once again is loading with a spinner. And here's the rest of the logic. Some of them I just minimize because we don't need to see this. This is just hard-coded stuff. This is where our main stuff is under order summary. See right here, cart data, we're mapping over it, and product is our main variable. Handle remove cart with the product ID. Handle quality change, product ID, and the value that we get from choice. You know, our drop down 1, 2, 3, 4, all those numbers that we dynamically create here. And here's our subtotal, to fix 2 for 2 decimal point, shipping also, taxes, etc., and the total as subtotal. Confirm order, and it is donezo. All right, so now that you've seen this, now let's go find our other cart component, which is a sidebar based cart component. It's under component right here, cart, and let's go up. Whole bunch of things coming from the template, but our main thing would be this guy right here, use cart store, and the router. This router basically is the next/navigation, and this is the one we use to redirect our users to either checkout page or to the cart page, since there are buttons at the bottom. So anyway, so these are the necessary functions. We just load them up from use cart store, and using those, handle quantity change, exact same method, and then handle remove cart, go back to shop. In this case, we are using it for an empty cart page. These are all the template code. Set is cart open, so this is the one is used to close down the cart because it's set to false. And let's see right here, handle quantity change. This is our select drop down for item quantities, the same way dynamically creating 1 to 10 number for the drop down. And handle remove cart item ID, the specific item will be removed from the cart. And here is our subtotal, and here's our checkout page link and cart link. And this is where I am setting it up so that if everything is empty, if the cart is empty, then it will disable this button. Otherwise, it will have a nice little indigo color and it will be active. The same way the cart page, exact same logic. And then in the end, if you want to continue shopping, go back to shop, and that is also donezo. Now only thing left would be the thank you page. So let's go that's another template code. So let's go to public, and here's the thank you page. Same structure, page, just basic, bringing in the actual component, the content. And in here also, we are bringing in our used cart store from Zustand. And in here, we are not bringing all the stuff, only cart details, subtotal is loading, and get item quantity from our store, and is loading set with a spinner. And here's lots and lots of static data. Here's the cart detail mapping over all the products, subtotal, and shipping and tax are static. And here is our order total, shipping address is all made up, everything just template code. Now with that, I conclude this part number 1. Thanks for watching.